ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਸੈਭੰ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦ ਜਪ ਆਦ ਸੱਚ ਜੁਗਾਦ ਸੱਚ ਹੈ ਵੀ ਸੱਚ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਵੀ ਸੱਚ ਚੱਕਰ ਚਿਹਨ ਅਰ ਬਰਨ ਜਾਤ ਅਰ ਪਾਤ ਨਹਿਨ ਜਿਹ रूप रंग अर रेख पेख को कह न सकत कह अचल मूरत अनुभव प्रकाश अमितोज कह कोट इंद्र इंद्राण साहि साहान गणिज त्रिभवन महीप सुर नर असुर नेत नेत बान तृण कहत त्वै सर्वनाम कथा कवन कर्म नाम बरणात सुमत दंडौत बंधन अनेक बार सर्व कला समराथ डोलन ते राखो प्रभु नानक दे कर हाथ डोलन ते राखो प्रभु Nanak de kar hath. So, with Sri Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji Maharaj's apar kirpa, we're back with another week of Itihas, quite a while now, and we cover it as it's told in order according to the Sri Guru Pratap Suraj Prakash Granth, who was written by one of the greatest left Anandpur Sahib. Ever since then, they've been travelling and travelling. They don't really stay longer than maybe a couple of nights, a couple of weeks at different Godsik's houses. They set up camp around all different bins and nagars. And essentially, slowly, it's the path that Maharaj takes from Anandpur Sahib all the way to Patna Sahib. Because this is the lead up to Maharaj going to Patna Sahib, and is also the lead up to Sri Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj's avatar. So from today, the rest of the talks of the Itihas, it will be 2 kathas at the same time running now. And it's Guru Gobind Singh Ji's katha starts running from today, and then you've on the same side you've got Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji Maharaj's katha running as well. So today we're going to start at Hemkunt Sahib. So Hemkunt Sahib is the place where Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj did a huge amount of bhakti before they came as avatar of Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj onto this world. So before they were Guru Gobind Singh Ji, their name was Dusht Daman. And in Hemkunt Sahib, so a lot of you might have gone to do yatra that's in the mountains. It is where Maharaj did a huge amount of tap, huge amount of bhakti. So it's the start of Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj's Prakash now. So Kavi Santokh Singh Ji, they start by saying Purv Tapasya Karan Ki Kaho Katha Gurpur Purv Karha Antalo Shri Guru Kirtapur. That now I'm going to start the katha of Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj. And I'm going to tell you where it started from, the tap, the huge amount of tap that Maharaj did. Muni besh tar Shri Prabh apah anak prakar tapan ko tapah. Hemkunt parbat distara charane charha anek prakara. That Akal Purakh Vaheguru themselves manifested as a muni, as a, like you could say, a bhagat. And that manifestation was Dusht Daman. It was Guru Gobind Singh Ji. And in this manifestation, Dusht Daman, they did lots of different types of tap, most intense tap, where they would just do bhakti all day. They'd have to, it's really cold in Hemkunt Sahib. You'd have to withhold all the tand and then not eat anything, not sleep, all these types of tap. Because what is the actual meaning of tap? Tap is the ability or the strength to withstand something. So that's why sometimes we say that, like, even things like doing Santhiya, reading Bani, it's a kind of form of tap as well, because you have to withhold and you have to withstand sometimes the pain in your legs. You have to train your mind to be a certain way. So Guru Gobind Singh Ji in the form of Dush Daman did lots of tap at Hemkunt Sahib. And it's in the mountains. And Kavi Santokh Singh Ji in this chapter, what they do is they use their knowledge of flowers and Ayurveda and plants, along with their poetry skills, to make a chapter where they're just describing all the different types of plants, flowers, the crystal clear, beautiful waters. There's waterfalls, there's whirlpools, and they use the vidya that they have in Bhutti Prakash. Phulan bari chahud shamahe rang rang ki vigaseta hai. So there's gardens and gardens of flowers, and all different types of flowers. So they're like healing, all different types of fruits. And all this chapter is just them poetically going through each different type of flower or plant that you could see at Hemkunt Sahib. Then they go through each different type of creature or bird or deer that you could see again in a poetic way at Hemkunt Sahib. So they set the scene that it's beautiful, it's mountains, it's serene, there's all these different types of flowers, all these different types of plants, there's crystal clear waters. In this beautiful scene, you've got lots and lots of people doing this stuff. So it's not just Tushtaman. All types of people are trying to have the Prapti of Akal Purkh Vaheguru. And for some people, that means that you're tying themselves upside down. For some people, that meant starving themselves days and days on end just to do bhakti, just to try and have a feel or a glimpse of Akal Purkh Vaheguru Parameshwar. So, anekarit ke mon janata pat ek phal khahe ek paat. So some of them have fruits, some of them will just have the leaves that have fallen on the ground and just try and just get by with whatever they have there. Jalahari, trinahari kitek. So some of them will only not have water even. Some of them will just survive off grass. Nirahar, ketek, nahakad. Some people don't have anything at all. So all these efforts just to meditate and just to focus. And Shashuka Puttara Pakhyata Nitprat Eka Pancha Gante Tapat Gad Kitaka Sathandala Sai Tapata Barkhasi Tasaha Sabapant. So all these different ways, some of them will lie on thorns, some of them will sleep, some of them will subject themselves janke to the cold weather and the harsh conditions, all as a form of bhakti, all as a form of tap. And Kavi Santokh Singh Ji, he uses an analogy, and he says, Neta prata nikata chaha preta neta jasatas akal chaha sharn sadan. That just like a king wants to be close to his kingdom and he wants his wealth to be near to him, in the same way that these munis and these rishis would do anything just to have a glimpse of Akal Purkh Vaheguru, or just to be near to Vaheguru, even if it meant subjecting their bodies through extremes. And amongst all of them, who was doing the greatest tap? Who was the greatest tapi? That was Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, that was Dush Daman. So, Teneke Bada Mahant Hoye Basaha, Kathana Karta Tab Shabba Saman. That amongst all was Dush Daman doing the greatest tap. No one could compete. There was light, there was energy coming out of them. And Kavi Santokh Singh Ji, they even describe what Dush Daman looked like. They said, Ro kare ki kanir bid prabju, orda kare ekapad jugupan, ame kushuk dikta tamani gane tej pratap daso dis chai. That even though they had tej pratap, they had this beautiful radiance, they had this very powerful glow that couldn't be matched, they were pale. You could see their veins. Because they'd done such a great tap, they'd subjected themselves to so much that you could tell on their body, you could see their veins, you could see their nariyan. So that was the great intensity of Dush Daman Ji's tap. So while I'm talking about Hemkunt Sahib, it all comes back to these panktiyas. So this Shabad comes from Bachitra Natak, which is Guru Gobind Singh Ji's Bani, and it's kind of like their own biography. So everything that I'm going to say about Hemkunt Sahib, I'm going to try and back it with what they've said, because they've described themselves what's happened. So Ab main apni katha bakhano, tab saadat jeh bid mohe ano, Hemkunt parbat hai jaha, sapat sring sobat hai taha. So they describe all of this. So I'm going to coming back to these panktiyas. And again, Dosh Daman had the greatest radiance. It was like fire coming out of them. And straight away, they were one with the Akal Purkh Vaheguru. Tegh hum adhik tapasya sadi, mahakal kal ka aradi. They were completely absorbed in one. Ek roop hoy tan sud bisri par brahm parameswar pai. They were already one with the Akal Purkh Vaheguru, but that light was one as well. So through Dosh Damanji, the tap that they did, they completely connected with Akal Purkh Vaheguru. Eh bid kart tapasya payo, dwaite ek roop hoy gayo. This is Guru Gobind Singh Ji's writings. Dwaite ek roop hoy gayo. So many years passed then, and this tap carried on and carried on. And what's happening in the heavens is the Devate can't cope with the tap, because what's happening is there's this huge radiance and there's this huge illumination and there's this glow that's coming. And in the heavens, they can't cope with it. They can't see anything. They're like, there's this fire burning. Kisne tej tegam tapatapyo surgalo klo payo prakash nahi sahar sakha sur sare katna kor as bidte oras. The Devte are saying to Akal Purkh Vaheguru, who's doing this much tap? We can't see anything. There's fire everywhere. There's that much light. Who's doing all this tap? And then obviously Akal Purkh Vaheguru saying, your protector, the protector of even the Devi and the Devte, Devi Dev Dehore Tirat, Agam Nigam Aparamat Ras, Hind Dharam Ko Rakhya Kahove, Sri Guru Gobind Singh Halas. They will be the Rakhya of Dharam. I say Param Tejasi, Param Surme, Parma Anank, Karma Kare. They are the greatest warrior, the greatest person who can do anything. And their tap, only Guru Gobind Singh Ji's tap was the greatest out of all, and that's why no one could cope. Nahi sahar sakha pur sare. Okay, so over time, many years, this is in Satjug, by the way, this happened in Satjug. Dosh Damanji, they reach Sachkhand. So whilst they have, they're in their deep, intense meditation, they reach Sachkhand. And in this chapter 52, Kavi Santokh Singh Ji, he describes what the gates of Sachkhand are like. So it was all white everywhere. And there was 2 guards as well outside, and they had like sticks in their hands. And even the guard's face, there was glowing. You couldn't even see their face. There was that much radiance. There was that much glow. And then these huge white doors, and there was like sher, paintings of shers on them. So Dosh Daman walks in through the doors, and they're greeted by many sevadars and sevaks. And then eventually they have darshan of Akal Purkh. And it's said that at this point is where Jap Sahib, so the Bani Jap Sahib, was first ever recited. So it was in Satjug, and it was in Sachkhand as well. So Haath Band Pun Bandan Tari, Thande Pe, Nimrata Saath, Kahe Naam Jo Beech Jap Ji, Barna Kare Satat Ki Gaat. So once Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj bows down to Akal Purkh Vaheguru, does Matha Tek, they put their hands together, and then straight away Jap Sahib starts coming out of their mukh. And again, Kaha Kar Mukte Namah Namah Prabha Barang Bar Nivai Mat. So every time they say a Namo Shabad, Namastang Akale, Namastang Kirpale, all of them, every time they say it, they'll do Matha Tek and get up and do the new Shabad. So that is one of the Othanike of Jap Sahib. Pujang Priyat Shand, Namo Satya Namang, Namo Satya Rupang, Chidanand Eko, Anama Rupang, Namo Bij Bijang, Mahane Mahanang, Samanang Saputang Pavikhya Pavanang. So this is Kavi Santokh Singh Ji's poetry, but in this way that Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj said Namo, Namo, Namo 1,000 times to Akal Purkh Waheguru, and each Namo was displaying a different quality. So Bar Bar Karka Namo Pad Pankaj Sir Rakh Kahyo Mohe Agya Tijay Jim Ravar Abilak. Then they say to Akal Purkh Waheguru, give me Agya now. Whatever you want from me, whatever my task is now, whatever my future is now, just give me Agya, give me permission, give me blessings so that I can carry it out. Whatever you have planned for me. So then you have Parameshwar Ji. Dushta daman son prathama upjyo, karyo tapishwar ne mam dhyan, apne tap prabhavat keen se karan karve judd mahan. Out of all the tapis, you were the greatest Dushdaman. And now listen, you've done your tap, you've done your bhakti. But now it's time to go into a dark place of Kaljug, where your role is to do a Mahan Judd. You will do great battles. And now it's time for you to be a warrior. Nahi kisupi tapyo eto tap, teen jogan lo keen Mahan. That in 3 jugs, no one, all the way from Satyug to Kaljug, no one's going to be able to match the tap that you did. And if you're going to be manifested in Kaljug, and that will be your time to fight for Dharam, and that will be your time to do a great Judd. And then what's Dushdamanji's reply, or what's their reaction? So all of this happens in Sachkhand. It's a conversation that happens between Dushdaman and Akal Purkh Parameshwar. Charana aapke surte chobimam, tikyo adik man prem rasal, chit meh nahi jaan abilakha, ek ras rachiyo sarup sambal. So this is Kavi Santokh Singh Ji's writings. They're saying that I'm completely absorbed in you now. Dushdamanji is saying that to Parameshwar. I'm completely absorbed in you now. I'm not going to be able to go into this different world. I'm not going to be able to go to Kaljug. I don't have it in me. And also I don't want to. Mera chitani karda. And again, Guru Gobind Singh Ji's writing is Chitana payo hamaro avan kaha. Jo bhi rahi surat prabh charanan mah. That I was completely absorbed in Akal Purkh Waheguru's charan, that I had no desire to come to this world. And Parameshwar Ji says, Mam sut tu hai, mam saroop hi, pita putra meh ped na hoy. That you're my son, but you're also me. There's no difference between son and father. There's no difference between me and you. After some convincing then, and according to Akal Purkh Waheguru Ji's hukam, Dushdaman then put their hands together and said, Pant talha tab jagat majare, Jab ho baho tum aap sahai. That I will walk this path and I will go to this Kaljugi place, but only if you have my hand, only if you help me yourself. And again, all of these conversations that happen, they're in Gurbani. So in Radiance Sahib, we read, Pant chala tab jab main jab tum karo sahai. That's that. So all of this conversation, all these references, conversations that happened in Sachkhand between Dushdaman and Akal Purkh Waheguru. So then Dushdaman, through their dhyan, they leave Sachkhand and they're back at Hemkunt Sahib. So then now they come back to Hemkunt Sahib in their mind, and they realize that they've got a job to do and they don't have very long left, and it's time to leave this sarir for a new one. Just before that, they have conversations with their sevadars. So obviously they used to spend some time and they used to have sangat with other people. But out of those who did tap with Guru Gobind Singh Ji and who did seva of Dushdaman, Dushdaman Ji then gave them a hukam to say that you will be my Khalsa and you're going to come with me and you're needed as well. So Utpat Panth Khalsa Karaho, Jehe Meh Shakt Tej Pravishai, Rahat Rakhni Tapko Sadh Hai Simra Sat Naam Sat Pai. that you are to be my Khalsa. And now what's the thing that we're going to do? Asi Rat Rakhni. That Rat will be our primary in this world. And we're going to do Satnam Vaheguru job. That is our job. And they say, get ready. Okay, po so sikho eho karaj sadho purushottam hi paai razai. Hind dharam ko rakhan karaho turk tej tarko tarvai. Our job now is to fight the Turks who are going to destroy every dharam, who are now currently trying to destroy the Hindu dharam. So this is the time for battle. And then after that, so after telling their Sikhs and their Sevadars, Khanch pran ko jor paai kar dasmo dwar porvo ki. So what they do then is they kitch their saas, so their breaths up to the dasam dwar, and they're able to leave their body. And at that time, the Mata Gujar Kaur ji's womb is filled with air. So wherever Mataji was, they were in Prag Raj Tirath. At that point, Mataji's womb is filled with air. So that is the Sakhi of Doshdamanji, that they did an immense amount of bhakti. Then they had a conversation with Akal Purakh Vaheguru in Sachkhand, and Akal Purakh Vaheguru gave them their job, that now is time for the Khalsa to be formed, now is the time for Jodh. So what happens with Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji? So two kathas now are going to go side by side. So we're going to kind of, the next couple of weeks and months, we'll be alternating between Guru Gobind Singh Ji's katha running alongside Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji's katha. So Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji, Em anek hi tirth karka, tir chadaj tribani tir, pun daan kar divs bataye, jog samad bikha gambir. So Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji Maharaj is also getting ready for Guru Gobind Singh Ji's avatar. And some people will get ready to have children in different ways. Some people will do physical tayariyan. But here, Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji Maharaj is teaching us how to actually have a tayari. And what do they spend their time doing? What do they spend their days doing up until the time that Mataji's becoming pregnant and they are pregnant? They spend their time in the Tirath, the Tribeni, they're doing Punnadan, they're doing Seva, and they're doing Langars. That's all Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji Maharaj is doing. So Punnadan, Et Shri Tegh Bahadur Guruji, Bind Tirthan Tir Nivas. They spend all their time by the rivers. And Mata Gujar Kaur Ji obviously falls pregnant, and Mata Nanaki Ji, who's Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji Maharaj's Mata Ji, she's been doing this ardas for many, many years at this point, because her husband, who's Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji Maharaj, had already told her that you're going to have a great grandson. Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji is going to have a son, and he'll be a great warrior. But Mata Ji is growing older and older, and she's like, I don't know if I'm going to see my grandson. And she's doing Bentiya every day to Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji Maharaj. So she finds out, Dekh nukha ko mat nanki payo anandana hriday samay. That she is full of anand. She's so happy. She's doing ardasa. She is very happy to see Mata Gujar Kaur Ji. Mahapratapi sut ke sut hai, pat ko baag abha bidtai. That my son will be great. He'll be a great warrior, just like my husband has said. Sakala Goran ko maha aradat karahate haval ko baratai. She's doing praises of all the Guru Sahibs before them, and she's getting Gra Prashad, she's doing Langara of Beant Khushiyan. Okay, so again, we carry on with the travels. So from Prag Raj Tirath Tribeni, Maharaj reaches Kanshi. जब ही संगत को सुध होई मिले परस्पर सब सिख कोई अनेक उपायन को कर त्यारी जाय सो अर्पी गुरु अगारी. that once the Sangat of Kanshi find out that Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji Maharaj is coming, they're full of joy and they're doing tiyariyan. What are we going to give to Maharaj? What are we going to page to Maharaj? What langar shall we do for Maharaj? There's so much happiness, there's so much joy, there's so much joy. Nana Pantan Utasivakara, Gaite Haval Agatara, they're doing Kada Prashad, all these different types of delicacies, all these different types of langara, Pasrio Sajasa, Adika Bichakanshi, Mil Naracheta Kita Prakashi. That all across, the surrounding villages as well, they find out that Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji Maharaj is there, and they come running as well. And from Jaunpur, so Jaunpur is just near Kanshi, it's just a village near there, there's a Gursikh that comes, and his name is Bhai Gurbaksh Ji. And Bhai Gurbaksh Ji, he's a Kirtani, and he's got a lot of passion for doing Kirtan. And he asks Maharaj, look, can I sana you Kirtan? And he does Kirtan in front of Maharaj for hours and hours, and he didn't stop. And because of that, Maharaj got really, really happy, and they blessed Bhai Gurbaksh Ji. Son Bhai Gurbaksh Nihal, Nahi Fasahal Nishthara Jamajal. You'll never have to go through the pain of life and death ever again. That from now on, your whole lineage will be Kirtanis, and you will be blessed with Sikhi. Tohe banste Kirtan katha sunha prem tar sangat jatha. That in your lineage will always be Kirtan and katha. So that was the gift that he got. Okay, so from Kanshi we move on. So Maharaj travels on to a village called Sasraam. And in Sasraam, there is a really, really great Gursikh called Chacha Fagoji. So the name was Fagoji, but because he was like really Siana and he was kind of like really well respected, everyone just used to call him Chacha Ji. So they used to call him Chacha Fagoji. Sahasrav ko chale agari tah ek bas hai prem tar pari. Guru ko sikh hote abhiram Chacha Fago tisko naam. So he was a great, great Gursikh. He had a lot of faith in the Guru Kar. He had a lot of faith in Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji. Even though he'd never seen Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji, and we'll talk about that in a minute, he'd never seen Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji. But he'd heard Sakhya of Guru Sahibs, and he was such a strong Sikh just from that. And he basically started building a house, and all the Sangat of the village knew that he was building a house. But no one knew like exactly why. And the reason why he was building this house from scratch is because he wanted Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji Maharaj one day, wherever they are, to come to his house and bless him, and so that they could do Guru Sahib Seva. And he just had it in his heart. Like, he didn't know where Maharaj was. He'd never seen Maharaj before, but he just knew that one day I'd really like it if Guru Sahib's Charan could come into my house. And for that, I'm going to build a beautiful, massive house. And it had like a really big, beautiful porch. The doors were huge. It was really expensive. And all the Sangat were really impressed. And over many, many months, he'd been building this house. And just as it was getting finished, he said to the Sangat, come and look at my house. And the Sangat all come and look at the house. And they see this massive door, and then just like a normal sized house. And everyone's laughing a little bit, going, I don't know how you've designed this house. Like, why is the door huge? And it's like a 10-foot door. Like, do you really need that much of a big front door? And the rest of the house is really nice, but they were kind of laughing, going, what have you done here? Have you messed up? And they ask him, and they say, well, why have you done this for? Why have you designed it in this certain way? And they say, Satguru avehge mama dere, antarjami kat kat kere. Shastran sahat arood turang, avehge jab paye utang. Vehar nahi prab utran kara, jade turangam mam kar bara. When Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji Maharaj comes to my house, I don't want them to come off their horse and come and have to get off the horse and then come by foot into my house. They say that when Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji comes to my house, I want them to come with their kora and with all their shastar and with everything else they've got, with all of their saman. I don't want to have to ask Maharaj to come off their horse. Maharaj shouldn't come off their horse to come to my house, to come through my door. This is the reason why I've bought this huge 10-foot door. So he had so much Shraddha. He's like, why should Maharaj have to come off their horse? So this was his ardas. And he said, I know it. I know Maharaj is going to come. One day Maharaj is going to come to my house. I don't know how, but they will. And just from hearing his bhavana or his Shraddha, the rest of the Sangat in Sasraam, the rest of the villages, they also were amazed. And they started doing Ardasa then. They started saying, Maharaj, come, Maharaj, please bless us. Come to this village, come to this town. And it had a great effect on them as well. So Kavi Santokh Singh Ji, they have a really nice analogy that they use about Chacha Fago Ji. They say, Jema Bhavan Chandan Upja hai, Sab Kalan Chandan Ban ja hai. Fago te prana sunate masare, Guru udika te sanj majare. So, in the jungles, where there's Chandan de Drakht, so trees of sandalwood, they have a very distinct property. And their property is that any of the random other surrounding trees around them, they will push their scent onto the trees as well. So that even if you're not a sandalwood tree, but just because you're next to the Chandan, you'll also start smelling like Chandan. You'll also start smelling like sandalwood. And in the same way, so is the power of Sangat, or so is the essence of a Gursikh. That you might not be a Sikh yourself, you might not have that Shraddha yourself, but sometimes by standing near them and by spending time with them and being close to them, their kind of waft starts coming onto you. And then you start smelling of Chandan as well. And you slowly, you start getting that pull of Sikhi as well. So just like Chacha Fago Ji is the Chandan tree, the sandalwood tree, the Gursikhs are the surrounding trees in the forest or the jungle. So then slowly, they started thinking, wow, look how much Shraddha he's got. Maybe we should do Ardas as well. And I was listening to a Sakhi just a couple of weeks ago. There's so many beyond Sakhya when it comes to the essence of a Gursikh or the power of Sangat. But it's at the time of Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj. There was a Gursikh called Bhai Lakhu Ji. He was only a Gursikh because he had Sangat of another Gursikh. So he actually used to be a Jor, and he used to spend his times doing robberies of people that used to cross in the jungle. And one day he comes to the jungle area and he sees this Gursikh called Bhai Pirana Ji. So Bhai Pirana Ji was great Gursikh of Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj. And he's amazed at him. He's like, wow, look, this is a Sikh, he's doing bhagati. Today, what I'll do is, my good deed of the day will be whatever I steal, I'll give some of it to him. So maybe I'll get something out of it. That's my seva for the day. And he comes across a carriage of women who there's no men there, and they're not armed or anything like that. And he gets a machete, and he goes and threatens them and says, give me all your gold, give me all your jewelry, give me everything, otherwise I'm going to kill you. And of course they give him everything, so he comes back with sacks full of jewels and diamonds. And he comes back to the jungles where Bhai Pirana Ji is doing bhakti. And he says, look what I've got you, this is my daan, this is my beta for you, that you're doing this great amount of bhakti, and have these jewels, you just have some of it. And Bhai Pirana Ji is shocked. And they say, don't let that come near me, I'll destroy you. And because he was scared and he realized what he'd done wrong, he started doing Ardasa and say, please forgive me. And then it just kind of clicked with him that what he was doing all along, it was completely wrong. And then he started saying to Bhai Pirana Ji, look, I know, everything I'm doing is wrong. And he started doing Ardasa. And he started saying to Bhai Pirana Ji, let me become your Sikh. And Bhai Pirana Ji is like, you can't become my Sikh. I'm a Sikh of a Guru. I'm a Sikh of Guru Arjan Dev Ji. But I'll take you to them. So then when Bhai Lakhu Ji and Bhai Pirana Ji reach Guru Arjan Dev Ji, Bhai Lakhu Ji is just completely absorbed in Guru Arjan Dev Ji. And from that day, they never looked back. And they became a great Gursikh. They used to do 21 Japji Sabs a day. And then they had lots of different seva. So again, just like Bhai Pirana ji was that Chandan for Bhai Lakhu ji, Chacha Fago ji here was the Chandan for the rest of the Gursikhs in his village. So essence of Sangat, essence of a Gursikh is very important. Okay, so we've got Chacha Fago ji waiting for Guru Sahib in their village, Sasraam, and Maharaj is carrying on their travels now. So they just went to Kanshi. Then they reach a town or a village called Mirzapur. Pahunch pe Mirzapur Nagari, Sone Kar Gur Sod Sangat Sagari, Upaharan Le Anak Prakari, Adarhit Ay Agavari. The Sangat, Maharaj doesn't stay there for long, but the Sangat have got so much jar, they've got so much love, they've got so much khushi. They bring everything towards Maharaj doing peta. Then just near, there's a river that flows. And this river's name was originally called Karamnaasa. Karamnaasa means that it will destroy your good karam that you've done if you bathe in this river. So it was like a opposite of a Tirth pilgrimage. It was like your bad things will happen to you because you wash away your good actions. And Maharaj starts having an ishnan there. They dip their feet into the Karamnaasa river. And all the sevadars are saying, Maharaj, what are you doing? You know about this river. And Maharaj tells the story of this river. So, it's quite a long one, but the story comes from Treta Yug. Okay? So in Treta Yug, there was two gurus, or there was two munis. One was called Vashisht Muni, the other was called Vishwamitra. They were gurus of Ramchandra ji as well. And they all had different qualities. So one of them taught Shastra Vidya, and the other one taught Shastra Vidya. And Vashisht Muni, he had the title, or he had the padavi, or the status of something called a Brahmriki. So Brahmriki is the top status you can get if you want to be a Riki. And Vishwamitra, he was a Raja. So originally he was a Raja, and then he did lots of tap, he did lots of bhakti to become a Muni. And Muni, you could say, is kind of like a monk, someone religious, like a priest or a guru, someone who's had a lot of vidya. So he did lots of tap to become a Muni. And the thing is with Vishwamitra is he wanted the title of Brahmriki because he wanted to be number one. So then he went to Brahma and said, give me the title of Brahmriki. Brahma said, I can't give the title because someone's already got it, and that's Vashisht Muni. So if you want that title, you have to get Vashisht Muni to tell you that you are Brahmriki. You have to be proclaimed as Brahmriki by Vashisht Muni. Only then will you get it. Because he wanted this title and this status really, really badly, he used to go and visit Vashisht. And every time he used to visit Vashisht Muni used to say to him, Ao Rajriki. He never said Brahmriki, he said Rajriki, because he was a king, I know he was a Raja. And every time he said that, he used to get angry and kill one of Vashisht Muni's sons. So he had 100 sons. So every time, he'd kill him, and he'd kill him, and he'd kill him. Then right at the end, he dropped all of his shastra, and he went to Vashisht Muni's house. And then that one time, after all the sons were killed anyway, Vashisht said, Ao Brahmriki, to Vishwamitra. So then he got the title of Vishwamitra. But then Vishwamitra was like, well, I've got to admit to him now, and I've got to tell him that I've killed 100 of his sons over this. So then he said, look, after all of this, I've killed 100 of your sons have died. Every time you've called me Rajriki, I've killed a son. And then because he had so much more of his sons, he had so much attachment, what he tried to do is he tried to kill himself. So the first time what he did was he got a chain around his neck and tried to drown himself in the Bipasa river. That's why the name of the Bias that we have in Punjab, it was originally called Bipasa, because the river had so much Shakti, nature's got force. The river had so much Shakti that it said, I don't want to take pap for killing such a Vidwan, such a scholar, that it cut the fahi, the chain, the rope around the Rikki's neck into Bepasa. Then they went to Satluj, Satadrav. When they tried to drown in Satluj, the river split 1,000 ways, so that you can't actually drown because all the pani's gone 1,000 ways. So again, that river didn't want to take the pap. Then he went to Anandpur Sahib, and again he was about to kill himself. Then Akash Bani came and said, don't worry, your wife's pregnant. So this was kind of like the trouble that had always been going on between these two Rikhis. Then the last thing that happened was that there was a Raja, I've forgotten his name now off the top of my head. There was a Raja who used to be Vishisht's Vidyarthi. He used to go and learn off Vishisht Muni. And again, Vishwamitra used to get jealous. Why is he learning off him? Why can't he come and learn off me? So he used to say to the king, go and ask your Ustad whether he can get you to the heavens in this body. Right? In this body, you can just reach the heavens. So then he went to his Ustad, Vishisht Muni, and said, can you get me to the heavens like this? And they said, no, this is not in my kam. So then he betrayed his Ustad and then went to the other Ustad, who was Vishwamitra. And then he tried to get the king in his complete body to the heavens. Every time he used to reach the heaven, the Devta used to push him out. And he got fed up. And every time, because the reason why they used to push him out is because he'd done pap. What was the pap? That he'd betrayed his own Ustad. And then Vishwamitra got the pani of a river and washed him, right? That pani of the river was the Karamnaasa river. So in that river, the pani is meant to be like, the Raja's pap that he'd done, which was the biggest pap, which was betraying your own Vidya Guru, the one who's given you everything, you betray him. So that's why that pani was meant to be like ganda or bad. And as soon as Maharaj put the charan in there, it was never going to be Karamnaasa again. Instead, Maharaj said, I'm going to call this Karma Binasa, that I'm going to call it the river that gets rid of bad deeds. Okay, so if you're going to Yatra now, you want to get rid of your bad karam, you can go to the Karamnaasa Nadi, because that was Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji Maharaj's bachan. They put their charan there. So the whole fate of that river turned just because Maharaj put their charan there. Okay, I'm going to just, I think, end with Chacha because I want to finish Chacha Fago Ji Sakhi. So Maharaj is Hadda Ishnan now at the Karamnaasa, and they're traveling onwards, and of course they're traveling to Sasraam now because Chacha Fago Ji and all the Sangat are waiting for them now. The Maharaj says that you guys stay back a little bit, and me by myself, I'm going to go forward. I'm going to go Mori, I'm going to go Agge. So the rest of the Sangat, because usually they would have travelled together, but the rest of the Sangat in this instance stayed back while Maharaj travelled forward. Vahana chade ajar meh aave Shri Guru Tegh Bahadur Chand aaye chade tarang biland. So without anyone knowing, and no one was home either, Sri Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji Maharaj travels to Sasraam, the village where Chacha Fago Ji is staying, and they walk through the front door and they arrive in the porch and they're waiting. And few villagers now are coming and saying, wow, who's this like majestic being who just walked through the house, the front door on a horse, and they've got their shastra on them. They had a bow and arrow in their hand. And, what's going on? Who's this person? They look like he's just flown from the skies. And they're like, go and call Chacha Fago Ji. And Chacha Fago Ji comes. And they're just looking at Maharaj. And they're like, who's this? Because they've never seen Maharaj. They're like, who's this? And then they look at Maharaj and properly have darshan of Maharaj. And then they realize then. So obviously no one can compare to Maharaj's Jod. And then that was it. Then he was completely absorbed. He didn't know what time it was. He didn't know where he was. He was just staring at Maharaj. He was just having Maharaj's darshan. Can you imagine like how much energy and effort he's put in to make this big house with this massive door? And Maharaj actually fulfilled his wishes. And he stops blinking, he stops breathing. He's just standing there staring at Maharaj on their horse. And Maharaj is like glow and radiance, and all the Sangat are just there. Then he kind of snaps out of it and he's like running around going, oh my gosh, Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji Maharaj is at my house. Maybe I should do some seva. I have all these things ready. I have langar ready. I've bought a beautiful bed or a couch for Maharaj. I should get that ready. I should tell everyone that Maharaj has come to my house. And Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji Maharaj is saying, you're the one that told me to come. It was your ardas. And because of your ardas, I've come. And it was just a very, very nice scene. So then Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji Maharaj stays there at Chacha Fago Ji's residence. And then holy, the rest of the Sangat come. And there's actually, I believe that there's 2 Gurdwara in this village. One is the actual house, and then one is like a little bit outside of the town because that's where the rest of the Sangat set up camp. So there's 2 Gurukars, one inside the village, one just outside Bar. And Chacha Fagoji's ardasa have been granted, and they're saying Bar with Balihari Maharaj, Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji, again and again, many times, over and over, I'm a sacrifice to you. And they're saying, they've got tears in their eyes, and they're saying, Kaun rank mein chal kar aaye. I'm just a poor person, I'm a nobody. How have you come to my house, Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji? I never thought this would happen. I did tayari, but I'm a nobody. Why have you come to my house? Bird das pasal tum gaye. I'm just a das, I'm just your slave, I'm just a sevak. Kar jo raha ar bina bakhana karate haval ko baho an. They're putting their hands together, they're doing ardasa, they're saying thank you to Maharaj, and then they're making langar, they're doing kada prasad, and they do toof, arti, they give Maharaj a full mala, and yeah, it's just a very nice scene. And Maharaj's request before leaving, Sikhan grihete kargur, lekin se ekathai, so arpan ki jah an, ham chahat aga prasthan. So before leaving Sasraam, Maharaj says to Chacha Fago Ji, there's one thing now that's missing and that you've promised me but you haven't given to me. And you need to give it now because I know you've been the one that's collecting it because I'm going to move on now, I'm traveling. And so Chacha Fago Ji, as the kind of the Siana in the village, they had the Jummivari of collecting all of the Sangat's Daswand. So they like put the Daswand all in one place, and then every month or something they'd go and give it to the Gurukar and they donate it. And Maharaj is saying, well, where's all this Daswand that you've been collecting? Because some is missing. And Chacha Fago Ji is saying, no, Maharaj, I've counted it all and I've given it to you, and I've transferred it all, like I don't owe you anything, Maharaj. And Maharaj is saying, no, think again, because there's one thing that's missing, you owe me something. And then, Sonu Fago man mein hai bismayo, eh kya satgur baak bakhayo. That they're like, their mind is shocked, and they're like, wait, how's Maharaj saying this? How does Maharaj know this? There is one more thing. So, Chacha Fago Ji, what he did was he went to one of the houses in the village and he asked for the daswand as he would normally. But the husband of that house was not there, it was just the wife. And they were really, really poor. They were struggling for money a lot. They could barely eat. And he went and he asked for daswand for the Gurukar. And the wife had a go at him and she said, I can barely afford my own roti. What daswand am I going to give you? I can't give you anything. And she was upset. She was like, I've got nothing to give. And Chacha Fago Ji was like, yeah, but you usually give it and we all give it. And it's just a little bit of this one. Whatever you have, just give it. But she didn't like it. And she thought they were pestering her. So what she did was she got out of the bin a load of trash and put it in Chacha Fago Ji's hand. She went, here you go, have this trash. This is my daswant, the Guru Kar. And Chacha Fago ji took it and they took it home. And as they went home, they're like going through the scraps and the trash and they realize there's like a fruit stone there. And they realize that this can actually be planted. And so they plant this stone and it turns slowly over many months, it turns into a beautiful plum tree with like fresh, juicy plums. And Maharaj is saying, you owe me. So I guess there's different ways to look at it. But even look at how the way in which she got trash out and put it in Chacha Fagoji's hands. Look at Maharaj's daya, look at Maharaj's compassion, that even then they still accepted the beta. Even then they were trying to do Parupkar. Because if you give Maharaj something, it's not that you're giving Maharaj something, really is that you're giving yourself something. Because Maharaj has everything. So again, Gursikhs are Parupkari. Parupkari means they want what's best for the world, what's better for the world. And I'll finish on this, but it reminded me of a Sakhi of Bhai Mengaji. So Bhai Mengaji was a Gursikh in the time of Guru Amar Das Ji. And his seva was that for the langar, he used to have to go and collect the logs so that the fire can be created for the langar. And every day, every night, he used to go and collect the logs in the woods. And around Govindwal Sahib, there was a lot of people that wanted to do Jori. So these people were ready to do Jori, but then they realized that Bhai Mengaji was in the woods as well, and he might catch them out. So what they did was they dug up loads of dirt, and then they buried Bhai Mengaji in this soil and dirt. And then they ran off to go try and do Jori in Govindwal Sahib. Thing is, when they got to Govindwal Sahib, they realized in Govindwal Sahib was very famous because no one slept. So all night there used to be like langar going on, seva going on, and the Gursikhs didn't let anything happen. The next day, Guru Amar Das Ji Maharaj themselves said, where's Bhai Mengaji? He hasn't come back, he hasn't come back from his seva, go and find him. And then they found him, and he was just like dug and buried in all this dirt. And he was just doing Vaheguru Satanam Simran. And when he comes back to Guru Amar Das Ji, Maharaj says, look what these Jor have done to you. This is bad. Tell me, what shall I do? How shall I punish them? I'll do anything, but we'll punish them. And what does Bhai Mengaji? They put their hands together and say, Maharaj, please bless them with Sikhi instead. Even though they literally spent the night dug up in the jungles, freezing cold, could barely breathe, they come back to Maharaj and Maharaj says, they say, don't do anything to them, don't punish them, bless them with Sikhi instead. So again, Gursikhs are Parupkari. Just in the way that Chacha Fagoji finds that fruit stone, even though he got given loads of trash, he was still trying to make something work. That Gursikh, the Sikhs who were agreed, maybe their Parupkar can happen, maybe something good can happen to them. In the same way, so is Bhai Mengaji. Okay, so I think I will leave it there. But you will carry on listening to the Sakya of Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji Maharaj. And now we're very close, very, very close to the avatar happening of Sri Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj and at Patna Sahib. So we'll leave it there. I would have made many, many mistakes, so please forgive me. Lekha katha na chutiya, khin khin poolanahar, baksanhar baksala, nanak par utar, Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh.